Yeah, I think it was the
Why
video that
not?
I had up there, so whatever. I don't need to show it. People
Yeah,
were there. They could
definitely
see it.
blame people were there. Hey, welcome to episode 130 of Ripping the Rack podcast. I am your host, Tim. With me today is Mr. Second Place, Calvin
Mr.
Locke.
Second Place.
He,
I'm here.
Mr. Second Place.
I'm here.
There
I'm
is no
I'm
crown for second place, buddy.
I'm giving the crown temporarily until the next podcast. I'm giving him a 2 week enjoyment of the crown. Mr. Blake Doucette, congratulations, sir, on the singles win as well as the team win. So screw that Matt Harnett guy. As of right now, for the next couple weeks, you, Mr. Honeys, are the king of the North until the next podcast, and then I'll be back to normal. So we'll be fine.
And then you get it back.
And then I get it back. Yeah, he just gets the 2 week buffer. It's like the 2 week you get to hold the trophy and everything like that, and then you got to give it off to the next guy. That's what it is. He gets the 2 week King of the North, and then I get it back after he's done.
And then that's it.
And then that's it. And then I'm back to the King of the North, rightful place. I'm on like a sabbatical, like a sick leave from the throne.
Okay. Bear with me one momento. I'm just sharing the link to Candlepin chat.
Thank you, Adam. Yes, I would actually, even though I did lose, I would like to see the finals. So I watched it on the Candlepin Bowling Network.
I would like to.
and a
I would like
big,
to see it.
massive shout out to
I'd
them.
like to see it too because Calvin loses,
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like to see Calvin lose? It's just
and
the way of the world,
and that's always fun.
right? However, I didn't lose a couple weeks ago, so I'm okay with losing a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit,
You're okay losing?
just a little bit, not a whole great amount, but just a little bit.
Just checking.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You get the? Do you get the vid?
Did I get the vid?
Yeah.
I did not know I had the vid 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay, so you
2 or
were
3
one of the
weeks ago.
people who brought it.
No, I was non-contagious when I brought it.
Yeah.
When I came over.
Yeah, I said to my team, because they were all saying, "Oh, I'm sick. I'm not sick. I'm sick. I'm not sick." I said, "Well, if you're sick, it's because you were there. If you're not sick, it's because you brought it to everybody."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get the elephant. Let's talk about the elephant in the room first.
Okay.
Okay. Let's get this out of the podcast, and we will never speak of this again. I am still flummoxed. That is the word I'm using. Flummoxed, confused. Don't know. I feel like I'm in an alternate universe. That we did not make the playoffs. I mean, we're not even talking about winning the thing. We didn't even make the playoffs.
Playoffs? You're talking about playoffs? Lucky Strike didn't make playoffs? I think that's the first time in history, isn't it?
It is.
Gotta be.
It is. If you had told me on Sunday when I got up there, said, "Hey, Tim, here's the thing. Before the first match Thursday morning, you guys are going to be second to last place in your division, but you're still going to have a shot at the playoffs. And after the first string of the last match, you guys will be mathematically eliminated for the playoffs." I would have laughed and said, "Hey, I want whatever drugs that you're taking."
Right. Absolutely. When I was sitting there, even Wednesday night, you guys, even like Tuesday night, when you guys were only 2 points ahead of us and we were absolutely dog ass terrible. Yeah. That's funny.
Well, it can't be the James Harden of bowling, considering I've won the Worlds.
Yeah.
So it can't be the James Harden.
I think he was just talking about the fact that you go and ruin teams. I think that's.
I don't know as if that's necessarily the case. But
no, did Price's Wood Flooring make the playoffs this year?
Price's Wood Flooring disbanded before I left.
No, I know, but just the fact that you joined them. Anyways, it's
Hey,
fine.
yeah, but I joined them. I joined
Timotero
them.
is a system.
I joined them and helped the team win the 2021 U.S. Invitational.
Oh, okay. Josh Daly still hasn't got that tattoo yet.
I know, because it
Josh
wasn't a
Daly.
Worlds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck off with your. It
But
wasn't.
no,
Wasn't
I don't know. It's been a very long time since I've been on a team that collectively all bowled subpar for the most part. I mean,
I was
obviously,
gonna say Eric bowled very well. Whenever I looked over, Eric was
Eric,
bowling
Eric,
very
Eric,
well.
Eric bowled well. Barber bowled well.
Yeah. I mean, Godwin was injured, so how do you?
We lose Godwin on Wednesday. Freshie really struggled, and you had a guy with a broken back as your first option off the bench.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, with Maria's losing in the first round on Friday, that is the first time in 20 plus years that Baker did not bowl on a Saturday. He had bowled on a Saturday every year he's bowled in the Worlds.
All right, crushed him.
Yeah.
Love it. Although it wasn't for the lack of trying, because he threw like 130, 166, and 120 something. Like he was 420 plus.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
it was a very. We'll get back to the Worlds because we have some other things to talk about
other
as well.
sure.
But we'll talk about we'll really dive into my thoughts on the Worlds because I'm going to piss people off.
This is gonna be a long conversation. I can feel it coming. This is gonna be a long podcast. So everybody kind of buckle up and let's get going.
So did a lot of people come down with COVID that were there? That's what I'm seeing on Facebook.
It's and honestly, people, and I I'm one of those devil advocate. It's not COVID. Everybody's got the cold. You have symptoms of COVID, which will show up in the test results. You have a body cold, your head, your everything. You're just worn out. Everybody gets sick after the Worlds.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Yeah, when Angie and I were
like
talking
I said,
about this at dinner, we just made the comment tonight when she and I were eating that it's there. It's going to be there. It's not going away. It's going to be one of these things where anytime you have a large gathering for a week-long tournament, it's going to have sickness.
Yeah, where you're bowling all the time, and then when you go back to the hotel, you're up until 12:30 drinking, and your body doesn't get its rest that it needs. You're not, you don't have the proper foods in you at all times, like liquids. You're drinking beer instead of water, which you should be. It's going to happen. Yep. Everybody's going to get sick. It doesn't matter.
And yeah, so let's start with
Can-Ams.
Angie Calvin says hi.
Hi, Angie.
Guess what she's doing?
Laundry.
Yep.
Monday night laundry night. Love it.
Yeah, so let's start with I don't have the results of the Can-Ams.
Got them right here, bud. I got you covered.
Perfect. Thank you. So
I knew where it was going, so I got you covered.
Excellent. So I was not there. So Calvin, because I did have COVID during the Can-Am, so I couldn't come up and watch. So it's on you.
Yeah.
Feel free.
So I'm just gonna go into. I think I'm just gonna do. I mean, we can absolutely dive into deeper about this with all the sides and oh yeah, sure. And the divisions and the separation and everything. We can dive into that again because I am always up for that kind of conversation.
But which one again? I'm sorry.
The one where the night shift is.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Anyways,
I've got a solution for that. By the way, before we even dive in.
Yeah.
You ready for this solution?
I'm ready for it.
Top 8 on Friday night.
You're right.
Top 8 on Saturday morning.
You're right.
There it is.
You're right. I don't normally agree with you, even though it wasn't as bad as you think, because it did go 7 and 9, 7 on the day shift, 9 on the night shift. But the Canadian side is 11 and 5. So it's a little more on the Canadian side than anything this year because, like I said, yeah, it was 7 and 9 on the American sides, where 7 from the day shift made it and 9 from the night shift.
Yeah.
So it was a little more even than people think, but the point differential is crazy. But anyways, we could just do it. So top 16 from the Canadian side. I'm just going to do one side to the other. I'm not going to do it in order. From the day shift, Sinton and Melanson, Murray and Smith, Connell and Wallace, Wallace and Martin, Wood and Locke, Daniels and Wood, Stubbs and Reed, Ward and Grattan, Bernacche and Bernacche, Beers and Jones, Betts and Ferris. And from the night shift, Miller and Carter, Bourgeois and Ryder, O'Keefe and Nyers, Garnett and Stewart, Baltus and Roy. In the American side, Scribner and Merrill, Chase and Jacques, McNally and McNally, Regan and Smith, Bisbee and Lapierre, Skinner and Barnes, Simmons and Witham from the day shift, Carroll and Zuffalato, Betteridge and Riva, Huff and Huff, Hugh Smith and Fry, Buckmore and Winiars, Rowe and Campbell, Hapworth and Carrier, Doherty, Champagne, Lamar, and Basford from the night shift. So I went into the bracket style, and I'll just go down to the final. Let's just go down to the final 8. So it ended up being Bourgeois and Ryder against Wallace and Martin, with Bourgeois and Ryder coming out on top. Scribner and Merrill up against Huff and Huff, and Scribner and Merrill came out on top. Sinton and Melanson against Wood and Locke, and Wood and Locke came out on top. Miller and Carter against Bisbee and Lapierre. Miller and Carter came out on top, which led to Miller and Carter against Wood and Locke, and Wood and Locke came out on top. I like that name. It's really rolls off the tongue, Wood and Locke. It's like
It's like a
something.
wooden lock.
Yeah, it's like a wooden
Like a lock
lock,
that's
right?
not metal,
Oh,
but it's wooden.
oh, it's great. Scribner and Merrill against Bourgeois and Ryder, and then Scribner and Merrill, Wood and Locke in the finals. Man, maybe I shouldn't be Mr. Second Place. Maybe, oops. Wood and Locke would come out with the victory. Jill Wood, the Queen of the North, we'll give her that title.
Queen of the North.
Queen
Jill
of the
Wood.
North was I've said this to a couple people, and I'll say this to everybody listening. That is the most clutch woman, the best woman bowler in the world, and when she needs to be there, she will be there. And she would say this herself. She struggled all weekend. She had a tough Saturday. She wasn't bowling very well. Sunday, she was off. Every 5 boxes, she'd come back and she'd say sorry. She wasn't happy with how she was bowling. And when she started out the finals and she went, I think it was 9 drop, spared it up, 9 drop, spared it up, 2-1, cut it over, 8-pin drop, spared it up. And I think it was 6 and spared it up. So she started out like an 82 front half. A woman who was struggling all weekend comes into the finals, and even in the playoffs, she was struggling a little. She was on and off. She had a tough first string. She had a 99 the first string and of the playoffs, and to come out and then throw an 82 front half and finish with a 149 in the finals, that's insane. Jill, yes, they'll say it all day, and I will say it back. You carried me in that finals. You absolutely gave us that victory, and I am perfectly okay with it. So,
As you
yes,
should be. Why
we were the
why
winners,
why wouldn't you be okay with it?
right? Why wouldn't I be okay with it? We were the winners, and high average was myself at 132.8. Narissa Daniels was the high average for the women at 117.3. I don't know. The high team double, I believe, was Sinton and Melanson at like a 292. They cut off the bottom of the screen here, but I think that's what it was, 292 or 290. They started the tournament with that, and then as Adam would say, he was downhill ever since. So,
It's pretty good.
yeah, it was very good. So, yeah, that was the Can-Ams. It was very good, very fun tournament as always. Um, as always, didn't come without a little drama. Some people getting
Drama?
a little too happy with their alcohol. Let's say that.
Yep.
We don't need to go any further. If you know, you know. If you don't know, it's really none of your business. And if somebody wants to tell
Yep.
you, then all the power to you. Um, yeah, it's and I mean, my team at the Worlds was kind of a part of it last year, but the alcohol for a few people is there needs to be kind of a limit, I think. But it's not it's not a terrible thing. Everybody likes to drink. Everybody likes to have fun. Some people just get a little too carried away,
Yeah.
and yeah.
That's, yep. I think that's
So
one way to put that.
yeah, but with it has when it comes to the divisions and the sides and everything like that, yes. Again, when we're doing it with the Americans this year, it was 7 and 9 from each side. So, can you really say it was much of a difference for them? Yes, no. The points were absolutely absurd. So more, it should be like the Canadian side. Then the Canadian side, all the night shift would actually have a chance to get in the playoffs instead of maybe 4 or 5 teams, because usually most of your day shift are all your good bowlers for the Canadian side. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
3, 4, maybe even 5 of the top women bowlers in Canada are all bowling the day shift, and the women make that tournament, as you can see by Jill throwing 149 in the finals. Like, your women make that tournament. So if you have all the high women bowlers on the Canadian side on the day shift, well, the Americans are going to have an easier side on the night shift. So I don't know if there really is a solution, or you just leave it as is. And
I never understood. Here's why I say it should be 8 and 8, half.
yeah,
Okay. Number one is obviously you have 16 teams from each side that make the playoffs.
yeah,
I'm sorry, cash, cash
cash
spiel,
steal.
spiel.
I would say the obvious is that you don't
I
bowl
don't.
anybody
How
else on
can
the other shift.
I was going to say, how
Yeah,
can I have a fair chance of making it if I'm not bowling everyone?
right.
I'm only bowling half the teams.
Yeah,
So you can't say one way or the other. No, Angela, they can't do a random draw each shift to make it who gets night and day shift, because a lot of people can only bowl the day shift,
yeah,
and that's why they bowl, and a lot of people can only bowl the night shifts. So, and a lot of people like to bowl the night shift because they find that it's tends to be an easier way to get in. And I hope I didn't offend anyone. Well, actually, I don't care if I offended anyone. It
mm,
is what it is.
yeah,
It's been that way. It's always been that way, and it will always be that way with the people running the tournament. It's a great tournament. Just needs a few tweaks.
yeah,
And number one is the playoffs. Should be top 8 from each night. Top 8 from Friday, Saturday night. Top 8 from Saturday morning, Sunday morning.
yeah.
That's
I,
the
I
fairest
mean,
way.
I mean, I it 100%, because if you look at the world and you look at any other tournament that has divisions, you don't get in based off your top like 8 qualifiers. You get
Right,
in based on your top 5 in your division. You get
right.
in based on your top 5 in your whatever. Like, I'm with you. I don't understand why it was ever done that way, but it
It,
was.
it it doesn't make sense to me, but that's okay. It doesn't need to make sense to me. I don't bowl in the tournament anymore. I gave up my spot, and I had someone tell me that I gave up my spot. I don't really have. I shouldn't have an opinion.
Yeah, those guys can kiss my.
So, do you have
What's
something you'd like
up?
to say, Calvin?
Oh, I no, I mean, I didn't want to make it so obvious,
Hi,
Tim,
Brian.
but there was a certain Hall of Famer. Let's call him Schmeg Schmolbrook, who came up to me and said, I have something really fun for your podcast. I said, oh, what, pray tell, is that? And they said, well, there's a guy on our team, and let's just call him Schmryan Schmuller. And
Is
he
he a junior?
He must be. He must be a junior because I
Okay.
mean seniors can't bowl this bad. But he told me that he went 9-drop, missed it, 9-drop, missed it, strike, 9-drop, missed it, 9-drop, missed it. So I thought, well, I don't understand why you have that guy in the lineup because obviously he's not very accurate. He can't do anything. Then I watched him in the playoffs. It wasn't much better. So really, the poor guy should pick better teammates.
Oh, that's funny. Jesus.
By the
Oh,
way, I got a few people who came up to me a lot throughout the week, and I appreciate that. As much as Tim and I do this just for fun, and we do this. I very much appreciate when everybody comes up and wants me to give their stories on the podcast because they know it's just going to be funny, and I'm going to make it 10 times worse than what it really was. So I appreciate that.
oh. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't say anything because I might have had one strike all week. Like,
Oh, strikes were very hard to come by. You know what? And we're all
so
done
let's
Can-Ams.
actually
Let's move on
hold
to
on.
World.
Let,
Yeah.
let's let's finish up the Can-Am conversation real quick.
Okay.
So that's my solution. Top eight. Top
Yeah.
eight. I was told that I really shouldn't have an opinion on this because I don't bowl in it and whatnot. And I just kind of chuckle and be like, well, do you know me?
Yeah.
Um, and according to me, apparently I do have my opinions that I put on everything, according to some people. I don't know. I My opinion is all it is. It's just my opinion. It doesn't mean it's right, and it
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just what I feel, and whether or not it's the right opinion, eh, that's not for me to.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Opinions are just like assholes. Everybody has one.
That's right.
So doesn't
That's right.
matter.
Oh,
Brian
thank you,
Fuller,
buddy.
I love you too, buddy. I know as much as I make fun of you, I love you too. It was fun beating you in the third string. I
Oh,
enjoyed it.
Jesus. So, shall we move on to next topic?
Yeah.
Actually, first things first. Do you have any upcoming tournaments in Canadian
Oh
world?
gosh, I didn't. You know what? I was thinking about all the tournaments we had to talk about, and I didn't really think about. Just give me a second. It took me 2 minutes.
Okay,
See
don't worry about it.
calendar. I know there's one the first week of December that Angela keeps pestering me about. So I know there's that one. November 19th looks like a pins over average at Bayers Road. I don't know if that's still a thing. I'm just going off of our calendar that I have here. November 25th is the Scotch doubles handicapped in Bayers Road. And then, yes, December 2nd is the Connell Patterson Memorial in Windsor, Avon Valley Lanes. I don't know how many teams are signed up. I really haven't seen anything. Moncton 525, December 3rd. Look at all these people. See, this is why live is so much better because then we can have people telling us what's going on. And what?
Calvin, you didn't say a single. You ran your mouth like this with no sound whatsoever.
I can barely hear you.
You can't hear me.
What is going on? I don't know what's going on.
Can anyone hear? It's my sound. Can anyone hear me?
Tim, it's your sound. Ha! See, it's Tim. Ha 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 ha! Calvin is the winner. Yeah, I think you unplugged yourself.
Not unplugged. I'm completely plugged in.
I don't know then. Everybody can hear me. So I'm going to keep talking while you just don't do anything.
Can't hear a single word.
So, yeah, Moncton 525. Oh, I heard you pop in. Moncton 525, December 3rd.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, can hear you now.
I can't hear you.
I don't know what you did then.
How about now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what you did.
I just unplugged this and I'm just on my computer.
Okay. Well, as long as you can hear me, who cares? You sound just as good as you would with your headphones in.
That was really well. Okay, well, consider this headphone number, whatever that has broken on me.
The cat probably chewed it.
Honestly, probably while I wasn't even paying attention. Maybe I got fried cat under here.
Could be.
So anyway, so what did you say?
I was talking about tournaments, and then I said I love this live thing because people can tell me what it is that's going on. So yeah, December 2nd, Windsor, and then I think there's a couple house tournaments, but I think the big one is the Connell Patterson Memorial. Again, don't know how many teams we have, don't know who's all signed up, don't know even if I'm bowling. So I'm just kind of sitting here, and we'll see, I guess. But other than that, no, nothing really big coming up. Not for a while, thank goodness, because I am tired.
Well, my next tournament isn't until next November.
So, are you officially signing back up again? Is that what it is?
What, for the Worlds?
Yeah.
If they ask me back.
I mean,
if I get tickets.
I mean, you signed up and they didn't make playoffs. You know,
we'll see. The only thing anyone has sent me for tournaments around here, and yes, by the way, from an upcoming tournament, I do not have the date confirmed, but the end of April, we will be having the Rip in the Rack State of Maine 1710-560 at 1710 Sports Center in Augusta. That will be a weekend. It'll be a Friday, a Saturday, Sunday event, just like last year. 18 teams is what we're taking. I need to confirm with Mark on the dates. I need to confirm with Mark on what averages we're using. Meaning, are we going to use the averages from last year's tournament, or if you're bowling out of Augusta or whatever, which I think we should, because there's been enough strings that those should be the ones you use. So, but I'll let Mark make that decision because he owns the house. How does my backfield? It hurts. It hurts.
Well, it wasn't a good thing for you to bowl.
I mean, I bowled 10 strings, and then I came in for another 2 or 3. I can't remember.
Right.
So I bowled far too many for me. And my average confirmed it. Even though I will admit my favorite part of that tournament was coming in off the bench against you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you enjoyed my 6 in a row to finish against you.
It wasn't even that. It was the moment. Yeah. It was needed points for both teams. You guys needed them. We needed them. It was an intense match for was that Thursday? I think that was Thursday.
Yes, Thursday night. Thursday last match.
And then I felt like that was the first time in a long time where I felt a little bit of old Tim.
Your adrenaline was running.
Oh my God, was it? It was. So, but we'll talk about that. So the only thing that I have is before the Rip in the Rack NASCAR 500, 560, we have Lita Lanes is presenting their skins. Roll-off dates will be Saturday, December 2nd, 11 a.m., 2 p.m., Sunday, December 3rd at 1 p.m., Saturday, December 9th, 11 a.m., 2 p.m., Sunday, December 17th at 1 p.m., Saturday, December 23rd at 9 a.m., and then Saturday, January 6th, 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. It is $80 per roll-off, 5-string roll-off. You can roll off multiple times. Your highest roll-off will be taken. The tape date will be Saturday, January 13th at 10 a.m. This is at Lita Lanes. Contact Lita Lanes. Contact Lexi or Matt Susi. You can reach out to them on Facebook or find them wherever. But definitely Lita Lanes. You've got the skins coming up. I honestly don't know right off the top of my head of any other tournaments. So let's put the focus on the World Singles.
Okay.
Did we have results of the World Singles anywhere that I could pull up and share?
I think Up in Chat had it.
I have been searching now for basically this a long time to try to find it. Anyway, congratulations, Calvin, on your run there.
Thank you.
You had one of the cool parts of not bowling on Monday was I got to watch a lot.
Yeah.
And I got to talk to a lot of people and just do things that I don't normally get a chance to do, and that's socialize during a tournament and just kind of watch.
Yeah. I mean, really, I did pull up some of the stats here. I got some of the the qualifiers. I don't have who bowled who, and I mean, I remember mine, but I don't remember most part. But I do have some of the stats that I pulled up, and even so, again, yeah, house record holder. There's a funny story, and we'll get into that here in a second because a lot of people were asking about it, and I'll get into it and tell the whole story about what it was. But even so, an amazing run for Blake as well, winning it because he was the third high qualifier at 679. So
absolutely, I hadn't gotten around to congratulating him yet. So
no, I know, but even so, so I was the high qualifier at 708. Mark Webber was number 2 at 703. Blake at 679. Ryan Cox at 672. Joey Lister at 661. Josh Daly at 656. And Freddie Toffenmeyer at 652. So those were the 6 or 7 guys who were over 650, 670. And then, it came down to myself and Blake. And yes, my 200. So I want to show this off because I think it's pretty impressive. And yes, the 206. So somebody had asked me, what did you get for your 206? And I said, well, I just got a piece of paper. And they said, no, you can't just have a piece of paper. So showed up Friday and brought me this. So these are coasters and are all made up of my marks and my score and everything. So I thought that was very neat, very appreciative of that. I thought that was very cool, and it is something that I will very much cherish because not only is that my high single ever, but also done at the Worlds. So I will love that very much. So thank you very much to the person who said they wanted to remain nameless because, like me, they don't want people to know that they're nice. So appreciate that very much, and I thanked them greatly, and it was awesome. And yes, the house record holder. So a lot of people saw that post on Facebook. Adam Melanson is the true house record holder of Fairlanes with a 223. The template that Fairlanes used had the house record on it, like Fairlanes house record, and put my 206 in there. So no, I don't have the house record, but however, I did 1,000,000% rub it in Adam Melanson's face when I had that piece of paper, and I used it as a placemat for my food on I think it was Tuesday night or Wednesday night. And so these are this is the Paul Grant one. Yeah. I should send you, hold on. I'm going to send you the other one. We'll use the other one because it has a better view of me. Paul Grant was very.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that view of you. It's too much of your butt.
I mean, that's the good butt. How do I more forward to, let's just send it to the Rip in the Rack because it's the first one that came up. So I sent you that video. It has the last 2 boxes. It's the same thing that Paul has, but it's just a better view of the pins and everything and not going up and down and all around and whatever Paul was trying to do. I appreciated that, but yes, and thank you, Nico. Yes, I was very jittery. My knees were shaking, and as you could see in the last 2 boxes, my breathing is a lot heavier than it really was because everything was and yes. And Jerry's
okay, so where are you right now, Calvin, with this?
This is right now in the 9th box. So
and what you have?
I am, hold on, let me get my coasters. I am 148, so 158 open. And very good ball. I thought it was going to be 10 when I let it go. It ended up being 9. Yes, and that we'll talk about that, Ian, as well.
And the fact that that was an open 9 pin drop, and you faced it like it was.
Yeah, like I said, you could see me lifting. I was
So
very.
you're at what, you're at 186 right now?
I'm 167 right now. 177 and open technically
In the 9th?
in the 9th. So
Oh, okay.
so if I put 10 on it, which I'm going to, it puts me at 187. So I'm 177 technically open in the 9th.
So that's one. So now you're 197 and 2 balls.
Yes, 197 and 2 balls. Oh yeah, you could see me shaking. Yeah, Dan got a nice view. He got right at the score table. He got the nice view. I was jittery. I was nervous. I was breathing heavily. I was taking my extra seconds as much as I could.
You missed the head pin.
I know. That's the only time I missed the head pin the whole spring.
Look at this though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been the only day they did the plates.
Yeah. No, that 2 or 3 pin was very lively. And then you can at the end of this before it stops, you can see me when I go up. It'll just be a couple seconds there, and I just get the shake right out because I was very nervous. It was but it was a lot of fun. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, it was and that was following 101. So nobody in the history of the singles will ever be able to say they tripled their score after the second string. Nobody.
Doubled.
No, I tripled it. I went from 100 to 300.
Oh, yeah.
I doubled my previous
thinking,
score.
Yeah, I was thinking you're 101 to 20. Yeah.
206. Yeah, I doubled my score, but I tripled my total.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, that was a good, and yes, again, good run. I felt good. Even in the playoffs, the first string, I went 125. The second string, I had, I think 127 or 28 against Mark Carrier, and then I had that one string, that lucky string where you beat somebody with a very crappy score, because Steve Colbert and I had a very nice 100 to 92 string where we each went like 7 out of 10 on the head pin, and I don't think one of us got a break. So
let me ask your opinion, and we'll go back to finish off this talk with the World Singles here. What if instead of the way we do the World Singles now, which is top 32 qualify, what if we went to elimination style for the playoffs instead of knockout?
Knockout.
What's your take on that? And the only reason I say that is I've been the beneficiary of winning with a 90-something string.
Right.
And I've been the beneficiary of losing with a 150-something string.
Yeah. And I mean, you think of Nate LeBlanc and Matt Cormier one year, 172 to 168 or something like that, or whatever that was.
I know there was someone that was I think Sargent one year had a 180-something, and the guy he was bowling against had a 170 or low 180.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just, not that I want to take away, because I love the format. I like the knockout style.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering if that gets you the best. Well, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I still think it always has to be knockout. Like I can understand the elimination, but I think it always has to be knockout. You always get your 1 versus 32. You always get you always get those kind of possible upsets. You always get the possible, instead of elimination. Then you're just why are you taking, top seeds, I guess, but you still get 32 qualifying. But I like the knockout better. I find going head to head to a bowler instead of trying to figure out if you're beating like 32 other bowlers or something. But yeah. Adam, okay. We could do that one if you want, but I don't know if you'd be able to, if you'd want to. Yeah. so I did that, and that was after my very big strike against Justin Waters in the semifinals. I didn't think I did, but I watched it that night, and oh, did I ever? And I apologized to him very much, but he said, no. Honestly, it was in the moment, and if it was the other way around, I would have done the exact same thing.
Are you talking about your strike in the 10th? Your
Yeah,
fill?
yeah,
Yeah.
My strike in the 10th, yeah.
I want to go on record as saying I called that strike.
A lot of people came up to me and said
before you threw it.
Yeah.
I was sitting down with, I forget who, Jeff maybe Surratt.
Yeah.
I think I was sitting with Surratt. We were just shooting the shit, talking and stuff, and watching the matches, and you made the shot, and I just looked at him and I said, "He's throwing a hammer right here," and he chuckled. He was like, I said, "No, he's throwing a hammer."
Yeah.
And it just absolutely exploded.
Oh yeah. And I've watched. I mean, of course, being me and being a bowling nerd, and my roommate. I don't know if he's here right now, but anyways, roommate. I'm sitting there in my chair the other night, and I'm just watching bowling. He goes, "Are you watching bowling?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm watching my singles." What? What are you watching it for? You were there, like, because I want to see it. And I think I watched that strike probably a good 25 times now, and I get shivers every time. It was a very good feeling to step up and you can hear me before it even hits the pins. I know it's a good ball, and I just yell out as loud as like go, and then it just everything goes, and it was, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the situations here, Kai bowled awesome in the singles.
Yes.
He bowled phenomenal, and the way he carried himself on the lanes, I'll give the kid credit, because he does carry himself very well on the lanes. But him and Mac had a great match, and I think that was the quarterfinals. I think round of 8.
He bowled who?
Mike McIntosh. So I think that
Yeah.
must have been
the quarterfinals, because he faced
no.
Blake
Kai is 20, 19.
He faced Blake in the semis, because that's who Blake beat.
So it must be the quarters then.
Yeah.
Kai is 20, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
19 or 20. He bowled well.
Right.
He had a 155 to Max 142.
Yeah.
I mean, dude bowls a 142 in the quarterfinals, and
yeah.
See ya. You're going home.
See you later. Yeah. And Angela, I very much disagree with you. Knockout isn't showing the best bowlers. It's showing who got lucky one game. No, you have to go 5 games. So if you got lucky 5 games, then, your luck was on your side. But no, you have to bowl for 5 games on top of the 5 games you just bowled just to get there. So no, knockout is not lucky. It's still, you got to still beat your opponent. I had to throw 137 to beat Justin Waters 134. So I still, when it comes to the singles, the knockout, I think, is always the way to go. It always should be head to head. It always should be.
I mean, I'm good with it either way.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I am. I struggle knowing that, like, McIntosh is out with a 142.
Yeah. And I won with 100.
He beat every single person except for the guy he was bowling. But again, that's part of match play. It's no different in golf. It's no different in any type of match play. So
right.
I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. So congrats, Blake. Good job. Good win. Big win.
Yeah.
Next, what we got?
Teams. We have teams.
What are we? Do we just want to talk about the finish? Do we just want to get that out of the way? Do we?
Yes, let's get it out of the way. For those of you, number one, congratulations to A+. A+ accounting.
Great bowling.
That is their 5th title.
Yeah.
They've all bowled together for many years.
Yeah, I think some of them are on like 16 years now, or 17 years they bowled the Worlds together. So.
I would, and I have said this many times, that if I'm going to have an anchor bowler, and I'm not going to talk about Chris yet.
Yeah.
Matt Harnett to me is one of your best ankle bowlers out there.
Absolutely.
Period.
Yeah.
He has bowled that position for years. He has won the shot he made in the 10th. The fact that he put the load on it he needed.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And that whole team, Dion coming off the bench,
Oh.
gutsy call by taking out who'd they take out? I'm forgetting right off the top of my head.
Lita or no, they took Nate. Nate came out in the second string.
Yep.
Sean went in for him, and then they took out Blake.
Okay.
And Nate moved down to second.
Okay. The fact that he came off the bench and threw a massive 160 string.
Not only that, finished with like 3 marks.
Yes.
In the second string. So he went like 8 in a row because he had the 2 or 3 that he finished with, and then he started out 6 in a row, I think, or 5 in a row.
So,
and not only that, but absolute missiles.
yes.
Like, I mean missiles at the head pin. They weren't like he slopped a couple down the side. He obliterated those pins.
Here's what I want to say, and I hope Chris is listening, or I hope he listens or watches this, because I know he does. I know he listens to the show, and I know he watches the show. There is 10 out of 10 times I would want him throwing that last ball. Period. End of story. I don't care about the result that he had.
Yep.
The fact that he made the 4 horsemen.
That never went all week.
Unless
there was 10 pins on the plate, because then I seen a whole bunch of people take out the 4 horsemen.
It is easy as an anchor bowler to feel that to pull it all on your shoulders. I know this. Calvin, you know this. You've bowled anchor.
Yeah.
I've bowled anchor. I've lost in the anchor position.
Yep.
I've been in that position. Not quite that close in the worlds. Like in the worlds in the world finals. I had a 20-pin lead. It was easy for me.
Yeah.
I was just overhyped and threw it in the corner and got lucky with a backdoor strike. I do not want to make this about you. I do not want to make this about me. This is about Chris. Keep your head up. You did not let anyone down. I saw your post. I know it's easy to feel that way, and I know you're going to feel that way for a while.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
100% get it.
Without his 440 in the whatever he went, I think it was like 420, 430, 440. They don't even make it there.
That's right.
So, absolutely.
Again, I put it on his post. I said, you win as a team and you lose as a team. He's a coach. He is a softball coach at a high level on high school and, the AAU circuit. And I know what he teaches those kids is that you win as a team and you lose as a team.
Mm-hmm.
It is no different in this situation.
100%.
You win as a team and you lose as a team. You had one bad
ball,
one bad break, one bad ball, whatever you want to call it. Okay.
And it was just, and I mean, you think of it just like in essentially in my singles when I threw that double in the finals, 1/4 of an inch either way, and that's an 8-pin break.
Yep.
So 1/4 of an inch either way, and that's at least 6, and you go to the tie, or 7, and you won the whole thing.
So I'll say it. I absolutely 100%. I know Chris is not a huge fan of the anchor position. He'll tell you he'll bowl anywhere.
Right.
And he'll do as good of a job as he can in any position.
Yeah.
But there are I maybe 5 people in this world of candlepin bowling right now that are the top 5, and you can argue he is one of those top 5.
Yeah. The way he's been bowling the last 2 or 3 years, absolutely.
Yep. So absolutely. Chris, keep your head up. Jump back on that saddle and just
absolutely don't let it get you down. Like you made the shot that I don't think many people would have made in that situation. The fact that Matt made that shot, put it in your face, and you stepped up and made it down the line. Like, there's no reason you should ever hang your head about that. You bowled phenomenal all week. There's honestly, and it's not any knock on any of the guys on his team, but nobody on that team could be put in that situation. There's no, I wouldn't think anybody was going to make the Four Horsemen except for you in that situation. So really, do not whatsoever put your head down, anything.
Nope, I wouldn't. That was a phenomenal match. I was on the road coming home. My oldest son coaches high school football, and they had their conference Class C North championship game. So as much as I hated to lose up there, I was happy I was able to make it back to the game.
Yeah.
So I was on the way home, and I'm getting texts as I'm driving going, holy shit, oh my God, holy shit. Like, just no words. Just, I'm like, finally, I had Angie grab my phone because I'm driving, and I'm like, will you just text out what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And that's what they were talking about was the match itself. Just
it was they're live. The fact that the first string, I think it was only like maybe, I can't remember what the first string was. It was like 647 to 5 something or 6. Anyways, it was close. And then the very second string, it was down to 1 pin, and then the whole string. A+ got up a little bit. They were up going into the last 2 boxes. I think they were up like 35. But that was only because they went, I think, 4 out of 5 in the 8th box. Like, it was back and forth. Shots were being made. People were missing. People were making in their face. It was, to be there live to watch that. Everybody who knows about it, I was absolutely 100% praying for a tie. I was, yeah. Nicole Legier, I don't know if you know her, Chris McGrady's wife, I guess, if you want to call her that.
Yeah, no, I know.
She's there all week. She's always there every week. She's always keeping the points, and a great story that I love to rub in his face, and I don't know if he'll listen to the podcast, but Justin Jones stepped up after I think it was the 6th box when A+ was up. I think it was 50, and they were open 3-3. They were open 3-3, and they were up 50. Justin Jones got up and said, "All right, let me know when it's over. This is done. I don't need to stay." And Nikki looked at me and she goes, "He's got a lot of confidence." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Could you imagine if right here this guy throws a strike and this guy throws 8 and this guy doesn't get a mark and he spares that up?" And sorry to not to offend anybody, but Matt McPhee throws it at like the 6 pin or the 4 pin again, and then he throws 8 on it in another one. Now it's down to like 12 pins, and it all happened. And It was just like poetry. And Nikki turned to me and she goes, "Calvin, I'm going to kill you." And I'm like, I hope it ties. Like, I'm dreaming of a tie. I want them to go one more. I want them to just crawl and claw. And I wanted it to go one more so bad.
So let's do this. I want to come back to the Worlds. Okay. I want to come back to the men's side, but I also I don't want to not talk about the women. I don't want to wait.
I figured I would figure we'd be doing it at the end when we're done with the Worlds talk, because I mean, like I said, I figured this one would probably go an hour and a half.
So let's keep talking then. So I got a couple of bones to pick here.
Oh, I'm ready. I got a few too. We're ready to go. Let's get into the deep part of it.
I got some things.
Yeah.
Number one, it is absolutely, utterly ridiculous that we weren't getting out of there until 7:30. I think the latest we got out of there one night was almost 8:00 at night.
Unreal.
I'm sorry. I hope people are listening when I say this, and I'm going to drop an F-bomb here. That's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And there is no godly reason why we should be bowling that. When I first started bowling this tournament, we started at 9 o'clock in the morning. That has not changed.
Yep.
We bowled 3 3-string matches every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, two on Friday. That has not changed. Nothing has changed in this tournament.
Yep.
Not a single thing. We used to get done around somewhere between 5 and 6 at the latest.
Yep.
Matter of fact, leagues still went on every night in these bowling alleys.
We still had leagues. But
Bangor, I can remember Bangor filling up, trying to get out of there because leagues were coming in.
Yeah.
Okay. There are 3 things that have changed in this game. Number 1 is scoring conditions. For whatever reason, there are less spares, less strikes. Your scores are lower. No, they are lower.
Okay. I mean, yes, you're not getting the 130 averages that you used to, but that's also because the pins are definitely not as lively as they used to be.
Again, that's
Right.
scoring conditions. I'm not saying it's bowlers.
Yeah, okay.
Understand when I say that, I'm not saying that the bowlers now aren't as what's the word I'm looking for? Aren't
Good.
as good as the bowlers in the
yeah.
past. Okay.
Right.
It's not really what I want to say, but I'm not saying that at all. Were there more of your top tier bowlers back then? Sure. I think we can all say back in the early, late 80s, early 90s, whatever. Yeah, there were more 125 average bowlers than there are now.
Yep.
Okay. Matter of fact, I think we had exactly 3 over 125 this past week. Okay.
Over 125? Oh no, I think there were more, weren't there? Anyway,
Nope,
keep going with your. I'll look it up.
I got it right here. 1, 2, 3. We had 3 at 125, 3 at 126, and 1 at 128.
Okay.
Okay. So there's one. Your scoring conditions back then, they did the plates every morning. They didn't grease them up. It wasn't sloppy, gross, whatever.
Right.
But they did the plates every morning.
Yeah.
Okay. So your scoring conditions were quote unquote better.
Absolutely.
Okay. What does that mean? That means you have more spares and more strikes.
Yep.
What does that mean? It goes faster.
Yep.
Now, part 2. How many pins did you have to run down to get? Or how many balls did you have to run down and get?
Yeah.
That was constant this week.
Yeah.
Broken pins falling. I mean, I'm not saying you have to have brand new pins. I'm not saying anything. And oh wow. So
yeah,
Angela just said there were 33 delays in the finals from what Scott Estabrook's daughter counted.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. That is unacceptable.
Oh yeah. And then the other edge of it, and we're gonna start into other things, is that people waiting for people to be done like 4 lanes over to go get those pins. Are you kidding me? I told a guy to get out of my lane so I could throw the ball because I wasn't going to wait any longer for him to come back. Like, you don't need to be waiting. If the person on the left hasn't thrown and the person on the right isn't throwing, go. You don't need to wait for lane 1 and 2 to be done if you're getting a pin on lane 5.
Exactly. Like, if that's bothering you, then you need to work on your concentration levels.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing I'm going to say, and this is where I'm going to piss a lot of people off, and I'm going to offend people. And I'm at the point now where I'm old. I don't care. There is no unearthly reason why if I'm on the left, I have to wait for the guy on the right on every ball.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. If I'm not cutting you off and you're not cutting me off, then just go when you're ready. If I throw a strike on the left and you blow out the head, you cherry the head pin and you're sitting there at the spread eagle, guess what? I'll press my button. It's not going to bother you. You'll shoot at your neck, your spare. I'm going to go. That's how it always used to be.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't get up to bowl if another guy was on lane, I waited for my person that I was bowling against. So if I'm in the third hole, I'm waiting for the other guy in the third hole.
Yeah.
Okay. But this whole ball for ball crap,
Oh, I know.
I'm sorry. Do not sit there and tell me it's courtesy. Bullshit. It isn't. Oh my God, I'm getting fucking heated.
Oh, I know.
It
I am.
isn't
Yep.
courtesy.
Oh, I know.
Why should I have to change the way I bowl because you're so goddamn slow that you can't throw a ball?
Yeah. And
That's not courtesy.
And the fact that people are standing there staring at the pins for an ungodly amount of time. Ungodly amount of time is just absolutely insane. And again, people waiting for those people, and then those people get upset. Like, get out of here! Are you kidding me?
I put this on Facebook. I witnessed, and I'm not going to name names. I'd like to, but I'm not going to name names.
I'll name them all if you want.
Okay. I witnessed a guy. We weren't bowling them. They were on another lane next to me. Come off the lane, pissed off because he pressed the button. I wasn't done bowling.
Oh,
and I sat back and went, wait, were you in the middle of your approach?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He threw a strike and pressed the button, and he was done his 2 boxes.
Yeah.
And you weren't good enough and threw the ball in the corner, and then you threw the ball in the other corner, and then you cherried the quarter pin for a 4 box.
Yeah.
Or a 5 box, whatever it was, and you're pissed off because he pressed the button and he threw a strike on you. Number one, grow up.
100%.
Number two, you're the reason why this has taken so goddamn long.
Yeah. And if you need to focus that much, and I mean, listen, I'll give one, and I've yelled at him 1,000 times, but I haven't yelled at him 1,000 more times. Justin Jones is not slow, but he's one of those guys where if something distracts him or throws him off, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, he could be looking at a fly on lane 24 and he's bowling on lane 18, and he has to stop his whole approach and everything. Like, if you are that out of focus on your bowling, and I'm just using him as an example, I'm talking about the whole of the tournament, because there were guys who were stopping again for a guy running over on lane like 14 and you're on lane 10 and there's a guy up there fetching a pin. I seen 2 matches. I don't understand it. The bull, our mechanic, was fixing a match on lane, or fixing something on lane 5 and 6, and the whole match on lane 7 and 8 had stopped. He's on lane 5 and 6. How does that distract you that much? Just throw the ball at the pins.
So I had one incident, and I think most people that know me and most people that have bowled with me know that my concentration level is pretty good. Meaning I typically don't see what's on my left or right when I'm bowling. Right. I typically don't. I'll know when people are going to go, but I don't typically pay attention to what's happening to my right or left. I had one instance where I took one step and I stopped because someone threw a pin 3 or 4 lanes over, and it just caught my eye, and I chuckled. I'm like, I can't believe I just saw that.
Yeah.
You know, and even Jeff said something about that he was like, he laughed. He goes, I didn't expect you to stop. And I was like, I just, whatever. But I didn't, I just turned around and then went again. Like, I came back and reset myself and then went.
Yeah.
The amount of people that swing their arms at an open rack or a full rack, staring at the head pin for 30 seconds
or more,
and then go,
and then
hit the quarter pin.
Yeah. You're like, you took all that time, and then they come back, grab the ball, and do the exact same thing again.
Yeah.
Like, people, I guess, judge me or react to my bowling style, and they think that I throw away pins on my third ball because I don't take as much time. And I trust me, it is not the way it is. My third ball is just my rhythm of how I go. My third ball or my first ball, I take 3 swings and then I go. My second ball, I take 2 swings, and my last ball, it's usually just 1 swing and go. Like I could pick off any pin you put on the deck. You put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I practice that when I'm practicing. I pick off pins. The other day, I actually got pretty close. I almost picked off every stinking pin going on here. Like, there's no reason.
This right here, whoever Wicked Fingers is, thank you.
Yeah.
This right here, everyone that bowls in the Worlds is there for a reason. Okay, for the most part, every single bowler knows what they're doing.
Right.
For the most part. Okay?
For the most part, yes.
I can probably count on one hand how many times my entire team asked for help reading a shot this past week.
Yeah.
Okay. And all it was, hey, this is where I'm thinking about playing it. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Did that wood come up and touch it? Like, is it touching it? Can I play it? Like,
I'm short. Yeah. I can't see. Can someone is that touching and back?
Right.
If I'm bowling on the left, and I've done this before, if I'm bowling on the left and the guy on my right is taking an inordinate amount of time to read a shot, and now they're talking about it, I'm going.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Especially if I'm looking at like a bare 9-pin drop.
Yep.
I'm going. I'm not letting you wait. Like,
there again, people say, well, that's not courteous. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Courtesy is in the rule book of candlepin bowling. 100% it is in the rule book. What it states is when two people are ready to go at the same time, the bowler on the right has the right of way. That is the only courtesy in the rule book.
Yep. Yeah.
I am tired of being at the Worlds and not leaving the bowling alley until almost 8 o'clock at night. Now I got to go find some place to eat.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm not 20 years old anymore, and I can't do fast food every night, and nor do I want to do fast food every night.
Which is tough during the week, and especially when we go to Bangor next year. I don't think anything's open past like 7 o'clock in Bangor during the week.
There's still restaurants open. Plenty of restaurants.
Yeah.
Plenty of decent restaurants open.
Right.
Okay. But you got to get there, and you got to eat. And now it's 9:30, and you're just getting back to the hotel.
Right.
And again, I'm not 25 years old anymore. I don't stay up until 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning drinking and doing whatever, and then get up at 7 to go bowl.
Yeah.
My body can't do it. I can't do it.
No.
I'm not saying I need the beauty sleep. I'm not saying I got to be whatever. But it's also extremely unhealthy to eat at dinner that late and then go to bed. Sears. Hey, buddy.
Yeah. No, and I agree with you.
By the way, he kicked my ass last week too.
Nice.
Yeah. A lot of people did.
The amount of slow bowling and the amount of people who are getting upset about stuff that is not going on with their lanes. Like, if, for example, somebody running down 4 lanes over, or somebody running down 2 lanes over, or the mechanic coming back or something, or blah, 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 blah. Like, if it has nothing to do with your lane, listen, you haven't got enough focus. Like, it's beyond at this point. And there was once I did it, the match was completely over. Everybody knew it was over. And I had thrown an 8-pin drop or something, and Buddy had this weird shot, and he was asking his teammates where to play it. I was like, the match is over. What are you asking for? So I went, made my spare, pushed my button, got ready to throw my next box, and he just stared me down and looked at me. You're a fucking asshole. What do you mean? You pushed your button in front of me. The match is over. Plenty over. You are asking your teammates about a shot that you have no idea where to play it. I know how to play mine. I'm going. The match is done. We're in their last box. It's over. Like, it's time to grow up, people. We're men in a men's tournament, and it needs to be faster. We were done one night. We were in the restaurant. We were eating. We were just getting our food, and another team walked in. I'm like, oh, did you guys have a couple beers before you left? No, we just got done. You just got done? We've been sitting here for 45 minutes waiting for our food. You guys just got done. That's insane. Insane.
How much of this needs to be written down, Greg? That's a great question. None of it. I don't think any of it needs to be written down.
Yeah.
Like, to me, this is a thing, and I'm not saying that I'm right, and I'm not saying the younger generation is right. Yeah. But this is a difference between the way I was brought up with bowling and the way the younger generation is brought up bowling.
Yeah. Oh, but even so, we shouldn't be in a bowling alley for 11 hours for 9 strings in a day. That should be 45 minutes to an hour per string, period.
It was always factored in. When I talked to Charlie many, many years ago, he said we always looked at it that an hour per string max.
Yep. And if it's close, maybe a little bit more, just because you take a little extra time on that last ball, like maybe a little bit more, right? But that's the next on the list, Angela. Don't worry, I got a little list here that we're getting into.
So I'm not saying I'm right.
Say whatever you want. Say whatever you want, Tim.
I know that I can be opinionated. I can be. And I like to think that my opinions that I have are based on a lot of years of doing this game. This was my 31st Worlds. 31 years in a row. I haven't missed one. I'd like to think that counts for something in the grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Sean, absolutely. There was an issue on 11 and 12 where the lane broke down.
Yeah.
This isn't talking about breakdowns or long breakdowns, because breakdowns happen.
Yeah.
But the majority of breakdowns only take a couple of minutes to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Majority.
Yeah.
Okay. There is no reason why, if I'm the bowler on the left, I can't go when I'm ready if I'm not cutting anyone off. Yeah. That's not courtesy, it's bowling.
Yeah.
That was actually kind of funny, Greg.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But I'd like to think that my experience counts for something.
Yeah. And Sears, that's another one. Is everybody saying, you go, oh, look who it is.
Hey, buddy.
Mr. Sears. Yeah. The case of the you go and then you go and everybody trying to be nice and you go, like, and I didn't, not once this week did I get into a you go, Matt. If you said to me, go, I'm going. I'm not going to wait for you. I always look to the person on my right and the person on my left. If the person on my left is ready to go, I'm not going to go yet. The person on my right is not ready to go, I'm not going to go. But as soon as one of them is done, I'm going. Like this, I'm not waiting, and it's getting too much. It's too.
And
ridiculous.
Chris, I'm going to use you as an example because you just brought it up.
Yeah.
Chris is one of the fastest bowlers I know. Meaning when he's ready,
he's going to go. Yep, absolutely.
And I'm okay with that because that's his style of bowling.
Yep.
Okay. When I was bowling good, I was a fairly fast bowler.
Yep.
I didn't take a lot of time. I didn't need to take a lot of time. It wasn't in my nature to sit there and look over a head pin and be like,
yeah, Mark O'Loughlin, you need to pick up your pace by at least a minute. That's bad, man. I'm sorry, Mark. Like I love you as a guy, but you're bowling, you need to pick that up at least by a minute. That is way too long looking at a full rack. If you're looking at an odd spare, great, do that. But looking at a full rack, man, you got to pick up your pace. Whew. Yeah, there's no slower. You are if not slowest, you're pretty close to the slowest bowler I've ever seen. It needs to be picked up.
You know, the
Something.
funny thing is you take a slow bowler like JoJo. Everybody
Yeah.
knows Slow Joe.
Yeah.
Joanne Rosano is awesome because she sits there and says, "Don't worry about me. You just do your
Absolutely.
thing."
Yes.
And I loved it here. So, oh, sorry, I lost.
I know. A lot of people are chatting. It's great.
Good. I love.
Yeah.
This is why
I
I love to do this show is when we have people just chiming in and talking about things.
Yeah.
We can't get better as a game, and we can't improve things if we don't talk about them.
Yeah.
So, Chris, to get back to you, it is 100% disadvantage for you to stand and wait.
Yeah.
100%. That is not courteous to you.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. You want to be courteous, then you have to be courteous to everyone in everyone's styles. Period.
Yeah.
End of story.
Absolutely.
Boom. Mic drop.
Yeah. Mic drop.
All
right, let's go into the next friggin' thing I want to bring up.
Yep.
People banging the friggin' ball racks and doing it for no friggin' reason and lifting up and smashing I know it wasn't just one person, but that one person knows who they are, and that one person is going to get a mouthful from me. It is ridiculous that you were to stand back there and one of my bowlers, we were bowling in the next match beside him, and he knows that I turned right around and I looked right in his face and I said, "Do you really have anything to fucking say?" My bowler went back and banged his balls on the floor where there's mats, where you couldn't hear anything, and it has nothing to do with anything. And then not literally 2 boxes later did he take his ball and smash it on the ball return. That's worse than you throwing it in somebody's face, because now you've distracted 15 boxes and you have the entire house clapping at you, calling you an idiot, telling you to do it again. Like, grow up.
But he did.
I know he did.
He did it against us when they were up big.
Yep. Right there.
And he was bowling me, I think.
You're an idiot. You are an amazing bowler, and I will not take that away from you, but you are a friggin' idiot. There is no reason for you to be banging the ball racks like you do. One bit.
I completely understand the frustration level with this game. You are talking to someone that used to slam ball returns. You are talking to someone that kicked ball returns. You are talking to someone that punched anything and everything. I've grown up. I've grown out of it. Do I get mad bowling? Oh my God, do I get mad? I think we did.
Yeah, I think we did. Angela kind of brought that up.
Yeah, we did. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I'm going to say is do not ever accuse me of lobbing the ball and not fucking have the balls to tell me.
There's the next point on my list, and so that is going to be brought up right now because
I will say it. I do. Number one, I don't lob the ball unless I lob it on purpose.
Right.
3/4 of the time, I'm dropping the ball at the line because I can't bend over anymore.
Yeah.
I'm throwing a 90 string, and I got 2 guys in back bitching about me lobbing to where my team could hear me, but not hear me, could hear them. He's lobbing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's the next thing.
If you want to be that type of people, of which now you are known for, I will not name names because
I can. Oh, unbelievable team. I will name them right off: Nick George, Josh George, Travis Toffelmeyer, Freddie Toffelmeyer. I'll name every friggin' one of them. And if you know, you know. If you don't know, you can talk around the bowling alley because everybody knows. It is absolutely childish for you to do what you did in the middle of a playoff match. You almost caused a fight in the middle of a playoff match because you were acting like children. If you have a problem with a lob, you simply stop the match entirely. You call a grievance. And if that grievance doesn't get followed through, you ask an official to stand there and watch the line. Simple, period. Stop acting like fucking children. We are grown adults in a tournament, and you're starting a fight. You're picking fights. You're sitting at the table yapping at people. Some guy is trying to bowl in his first ever Worlds, might I add, and you're chirping him about the way he's bowling just because you're losing by 100 pins. Grow up. Grow up.
There is a lot of perception is reality to a lot of people. Doesn't mean it's real. But someone's perception of you, of me, of Brian, of anyone is their reality. It took a long time for people to realize that I'm not really that big of a douchebag on the lanes.
I know how you feel.
It took a long time for people to understand that maybe I just need to grow up. And when I did grow up, it took a long time to lose that perception. My perception of unbelievable lanes, of which I've never had an issue, or I didn't think I did.
Right.
Up until this year. Never had an issue with any of them. Up until this year.
I still don't really have an issue with any of them, except for the fact that how they acted. I'll still talk to them. Well, maybe not Clayton, because I don't. But the rest of them, I've known Freddie forever. Travis, Travis was cheering me on in the singles. He was pretty screwed out of his mind, but still, he was cheering me on. And Josh and I have been friends for a while. Nick and I have been friends for a long time. But no, that was uncalled for. Childish, ridiculous.
It bothers me.
Yeah. In a playoff match. In a playoff match of the world.
And I heard about the playoff match after.
Yeah.
I forgot from who. Did I hear from you? No.
Maybe. You could have heard it from like 100 people that were there.
I heard it from several. There's no reason for that in this game.
No.
There isn't. And it's not chirping. It's just being a dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I first came up, my first time in Canada was in 93. People weren't chirping. They were saying comments, but not to me.
Yeah. They were like,
oh man, comments so I could hear it.
Yeah, that hole looks really big down there. You think that hole?
Boy,
yeah.
Wow, and the other thing is they weren't cheering to miss a shot either.
No.
And if I ever hear another person sit there and cheer about missing a shot, you're going to have issues. I never cheer for Calvin. If I'm bowling against you, I will never cheer for you to miss a shot.
No, never.
Ever. Period. End of story. In my head, I'm like, God, I hope he misses this.
Oh, yeah. In my head. And then I'll talk to my team after you miss. I'll be like, oh, thankfully he missed that. But, yeah. Yes, and I heard about that too, Greg. That was quite interesting. And to be honest, we actually used our live feed as a moment because something I've never seen happen before. We were bowling a match against, it was actually our last match Friday. We were bowling against Central Park, and the 9-pin or the 8-pin kept falling over. So I can't remember who their anchor bowler was. And anyways, had the 4 horsemen and the 8-pin. And then we all turned around. He picked up his ball, and there was only 3 pins standing. And we had no idea how it happened because everything was off the plate. So he made his spare, pushed his button, and then the 9-pin fell down. So I went and looked at Adam's feed and watched it. And the 8-pin, not the 9-pin. The 8-pin fell down and hit the 8-pin from the next rack and took out those 3 pins. So we had to redo the box all over again. But we never would have known that had we not had a feed.
Yeah.
I
love the fact that they were able to do that.
Right.
And Greg, by the way, thank you. Bob and Paul. You guys did a fantastic job all week long. Absolutely. I know it's really tough being where you were to really get, a lot of teams, and you could only really get one side. And that's cool. Just the fact that you guys were there for the entire week is awesome. One question won't mention the game of boxes. In the end, it didn't matter, but saw what I thought was a missing 8-pin in the bowler through a hammer. Yeah, I saw that a couple of times this past week where a pin fell in the back, and before you could say something, they've thrown the ball. So if you don't see it,
right. I mean, and you don't see it until later, and then maybe you don't have
about it.
two or three there. Wow. In as long as if somebody says it, if you could see it, I say it. I said it once. I was bowling. Actually, it was bowling Can-Ams, and Miranda Wallace was missing the 8-pin, and I saw it from like 4 lanes over, and I walked over and I said, I stopped them in the middle of the match, and I said, was that your first ball or your second ball? She said, my first ball. I said, oh, okay, you were missing the 8-pin. And she goes, was I? I was like, yes, 100%. You were missing the 8-pin. She went and pushed her button and reset. Like, if somebody sees it, you should bring it up, and all you have to do is just say it. Like, it's not. Greg, you're not going to do it just to do it. You're not going to do it to hinder somebody from anything. You do it because it's part of the game. Like, it's fairness of the game.
And yes, Greg, hopefully you guys, I would imagine you guys will get invited back.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I would imagine it. Calvin, you done talking about the?
I think that's all we got talking about. So we could talk about the women's.
Let's talk about the women's worlds, and then we'll wrap up the show. We'll give them the appropriate time. I don't want to say that this isn't going to be a 30-second conversation.
No, absolutely not.
But I will say again, thank you to Fairlanes for hosting.
Yes,
Men's Worlds.
It was a great week. They had a food truck outside, which was awesome. Yep. Like to call a food truck and ask them to be there for the week was great. What else was there? There was a few breakdowns, but limited breakdowns, and everything was up and running. Lanes were on at almost 8:15. Like, everything was practiced, ready to go. Like, stuff was done. It was great. It was well done.
I was a little bit disappointed with pinfall. It was a very tough house this week.
Yeah, it was very
for
tough.
a lot of people. I will say that I would hope, as proprietors, some that do listen to this, that understand as a bowler, we just want equal scoring conditions. We just want not equal, consistent.
Yes, consistent
scoring conditions. I hate that someone said, well, this is the U.S. Open of golf. No, it isn't.
No.
There's a difference. We just want no idea, Nico, how we did on predictions, averages, triples.
And really, as people say, my 206 was the high. Technically, it wasn't. My 206 was the high in the singles, and the 182 was the high for the team in the week or whatever. So,
yeah.
The right side is quicker than the left side. It always has been, and it always will be. If you looked at the averages when it was first there in 2013, there was 4 guys over 135 average on the right side, and I think on the left side there was only, high average was like 126.
Yeah, that left side. 1 through 12 is tough.
1 through 12 is very tough. Yeah, because those are the ones that get used the most. The other side doesn't get used as much, but 1 through 12 is very tough. It's almost, I think, the same in Bangor. I think the first 10 or 11 lanes.
No, I've been on both sides on Bangor and have scored well. A lot of your birthday parties and a lot of your parties and stuff are down on, 18 through 24. A lot of your leagues are on 1 through whatever. So, I am looking forward to Bangor hosting next year. I'm glad it's going back there.
Me too. Shorter drive.
Shorter drive for me.
Really.
Okay. I've always loved bowling there, so I'm looking forward to it. Again, I really hope I can get my back into a point where I could, contribute.
Yeah.
So, anyway, let's talk.
Women's.
And I do want to also thank Carrie Ann and Caitlin for coming up for a couple of days. The TikTok ladies.
Didn't even ask me to be on.
They're always fun, and I enjoy their TikToks. I enjoy their stuff. I really like their mic'd up stuff, even though if we could stop with Josh Daly being mic'd up, because it's Josh Daly, and
you could have picked a better bowler. Yes, Adam. Women's internationals has always been a mix of whoever you want.
Yes, as far as I know.
Yeah. So winners of that team meeting, the team of Jill Wood, Amanda Carroll, Tasha Murray, Melissa Sinton, Shannon Scribner, and Brooke Anton Betteridge. They were the winners of a record of 28-2. Second place was Gall Smack, whatever the heck that means.
Gal Smack.
Oh, is that what that is?
GAL, gals.
Well,
they're gonna smack you. Gal Smack.
Oh, is that what that means? Oh, cool. There's a C in smack, so that would make logical sense. Spelling properly would leave the doubt of whatever the heck that is. Anyways, they were second place at 24-6. Deadwood Divas, who I read a post, went undefeated on Sunday to move up from, I think it was like 8th to 3rd.
Yeah.
So Deadwood Divas 22-8. Team Exeter was 4th with 20-10. And the Queen of the North was the Queen again, and she was the best bowler of the weekend. Jill Wood at 122.46 average, the best. Maddie Riva of a 119.7 was second, and Sonia Johnson of a 119.33 was third. So wonderful bowling by the women.
I did watch, and Nico brought it up. There was some women that was streamed their matches.
Yeah.
And I know that Paul Grant they were going to get down there on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, I think Bob had a death in the family, so he had to get back. And so thank you, Michelle. I was going to ask you,
Michelle.
So no, I did watch yesterday. I watched a lot of the women bowling, and I want to say it was Michelle's team. I can't remember who was doing I think Kerrigan was doing the streaming for them.
Okay.
Which was cool. So I got to watch, more bowling. Pinfall
look at that. Adam, it's their starting letters of their team.
Maddie.
Yeah, Maddie. Glennis.
Lori. Amy. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So there we go. We got that figured out now.
Wow. Thank you, Michelle, because I did watch. I've never had a chance to really watch the women's internationals.
No, because it's usually after Worlds, and it's like I want to go home, not go watch more bowling.
Right. I'm not Evan, who is driving down there to go on a date that ends up getting married and everything else.
Yeah.
But no, it was interesting. I for some reason it seemed like their matches went quicker than ours. And I know they're only one string. I'm not talking about 1 versus 3. I'm saying that one string amazingly went quicker than the men's.
We also had a tough time. I mean, not to take away from the women again, we'll go back to the women, but the men's thing. We also we didn't have any practice lanes. So the 6-ball thing also slowed down a lot of matches.
It does. And that'll happen next year in Bangor.
Absolutely.
But hopefully we can get some people on board with this, moving this along. Anyway, back to the women, because I'd like to make sure they get their appropriate time here.
Absolutely.
I saw some really cool bowling. That the fact that Michelle's team, and I can't remember what team? High Low Dispensary. They were young.
Yeah, a lot
You
of young
know,
bowlers.
Kerrigan is she 21? She might be. I don't know. Cassidy isn't. I mean, Peyton's only 15, and Jenna's only 17 or 18.
Michelle is probably the old gal.
And Renee Skinner. She's.
I was just trying to make fun of Michelle, man. Just
I know, but I'm not going to make fun of her. Just saying.
Okay.
No, it was just it's cool to see because, again, I don't get to see a lot of the women bowlers the majority of the time. So I got to see some folks that, obviously Jenna and Vanessa and Shannon Scribner and Maddie and Amanda and stuff I do know.
Yeah.
But I don't get to watch Melissa Sinton bowl all that often. I don't get to watch Jill bowl all that often. And some of your others as you move down, D Nice and Narissa and things like that. I don't get to see them bowl.
Right.
So, and yes, Calvin is a Dan Van Walken.
If I haven't died yet, I won't die now.
My God.
I think there's worse that I've said to people, so I think I'm all right.
So no, it was just cool to see. Pinfall wise, I got to be honest, it looked tough.
It did, but there was a lot of big 600s, there's a lot of good strings there. Can't remember. I'm going back into this.
Yeah, I was trying to pull up the
611, 608, like those were the high, 567, 577, 579. Not that I'm saying that's not, fantastic, but that's pretty good for.
Well, in that format, when you're bowling one string matches, you don't have the three strings to kind of get into a groove.
You're moving to the next lane. And
right.
Yeah. So.
And that is tough. What else was I going to say? So I'm going to have, just so you know, we've got some guests coming on in the near future.
We do.
Working on some main bowlers. So we'll have Mark Weber, Cole Fry, and Kerrigan joining us. Hopefully that will be a Sunday evening special episode of Ripping the Rack podcast. Mike Machichi is going to join us at some point.
He was talking to me this weekend. He was excited. He wanted to come on. I'm like,
I would love to have Cheech on. He's got a lot of good things to bring to the game. He's got a lot of ideas. He's got a lot of
he does a lot for
the game. Michelle, I am going to bring her on. She wants to talk.
I'm going to be sick that week.
She wants to talk dress code.
Dress code.
Yep.
Which I want nice.
Jesus.
Slib tops for women. No shirts for men. Boobies.
Oh my God.
I didn't get grievance this week. I needed something.
My invite must be in the mail somewhere. Sure.
Sure. Why not? And no. Right. Thank you, Angela. For once, I agree with you. No, Hogan, you can't come on.
I'm going to say this. I feel it's a privilege that we get to do this show every couple of weeks. To me, we do it for free. We don't get paid for this. Matter of fact, we actually lose money for this because the program that we use costs me $25 a month for us.
Does it?
Yeah. That's not a free it's not a free program.
You should have told me that. I
did.
Money.
I told you and Brian.
I don't remember that.
But that's okay. I pay it because it's $25 a month and it's not making me go broke.
Right.
But it's a privilege for me to be able to do this and to speak about a game that's been pretty damn good to me over the last long time. Get to make fun of Brian every once in a while, get to make fun of Calvin every once in a while. So if you want us to talk about some stuff, you got to send us stuff to talk about.
Because
Can't
trust me,
make
we'll talk about it. We'll
'Cause
talk
we'll
about
talk
whatever
about
you want.
No hats required. Hats are not required for this show. Oh my God, hats. There's another.
People. It's why? Do you go to work and dress up in like a two-piece with a why can't you just not wear a hat for a week? Why? I refrained from posting on that post because I was going to lose my mind. It is simply a hat. It is simply shorts. Now, granted, it was so friggin' hot in there, and it's going to be so friggin' hot in Bangor because it's always so friggin' hot in that building. I can understand shorts as long as they're professional looking, but it's a dress code. Just live with it. Deal with it. It's a hat for a week. Gah! Gah!
And the last thing I'm going to say is from a courtesy side of things, the best thing I saw all week was in our last match when Jeff Surratt cuts off Charlie Collins on like the first or second box of the first string. It just turns around and just starts laughing. It's like, oh my God, I don't even know what I was doing. Like,
hilarious.
Chris, hasn't Chris been on the podcast?
No, we've never had Chris on. We
No,
can have
we've
him on
never had Chris-
now, but that could be bad because
Wait,
Calvin on podcast.
We have had Chris Merrill on this podcast.
No, when?
I'll be on when I can open both. Oh yeah.
No, you can open both eyes. You just don't know which way you're looking.
Chris, we have had Chris Merrill on this podcast.
I don't know when, bud. I must not have been there. Maybe it was one of the recorded.
See,
Maybe it was one of the recorded ones.
It was. Yeah, we weren't live. We recorded it.
I don't remember being there.
That's right, Chris. You were invited before. We'll have you on again. We'll talk about Worlds. We'll talk about. We won't talk about other things.
We could talk about Can-Ams. I mean,
and I will say this from the deodorant. Someone made a comment about wearing deodorant. I will never judge someone on wearing or not wearing deodorant. The simple fact is there are people out there that are allergic to deodorant and can't wear deodorant. Doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't mean they don't shower. It simply means that they can't wear deodorant.
Yeah, so, I always have some in my bowling bag just because when I start to smell, I don't like it. But I'm not going to go up to somebody and say, "Hey, man, here's a pit stick. You need it?"
Yeah.
Like, if somebody smells. Listen, Adam smells all the time, but I still have him on my team. If I could wrap his ass up in something that just keeps it like one of those hazmat suits around his ass, it would be great.
By the way, the other best thing about getting COVID before the Worlds is I lost my sense of smell.
Nice.
My sense of smell didn't come back until I think Friday. Started to come back on Friday.
Nice.
So it was great.
Yeah.
I still don't have it all the way back, but anyway.
That's all right.
So we're gonna wrap the show up because frankly I'm tired and
hey, we're about on time with our other shows, so it's great. This one was a longer show. We started earlier.
That's right. There you go, Greg. That is the fun fact of the day. I think that's a good one to end on right there.
That's interesting, yes.
There we go. You can send all of your questions, comments, and concerns to rippingtherackpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on the views and expressions of Ripping the Rack podcast are those of Mr. Second Place Calvin Locke and myself, Tim Matero, and solely of us. And if you don't like them,
we got 2 words for you.
What does Ryan normally say?
Okay. I don't know.
I
never pay attention when he talks.
That's the views and expressions.
I just go into
and
mode.
You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Anchor Breaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to your podcasts, I guess. Works for me.
Great.
So thank you guys. By the way, again, thank you for the listeners that were part of the show tonight. This is what I want with our show is conversations and being no, Nico, Calvin and I are not on OnlyFans. You got to find
Big Booty Brian. Big Booty Brian.
But no, seriously, this was a fun show. Opinionated Tim, I guess. That's okay. I think that's it.
I think so.
Peace out. Have a good week. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 week, whatever it is.
I don't know. Whatever we find the time to come back on again.
Pretty much. Watch Facebook. Facebook will tell you when we're on again.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Night, everybody.
Good night.